It's time again for a WSJF production. Our hosts, Alan and Linda Grassley, are members of St. Joseph Catholic Community. So listen to the moments of one family's life.
And welcome to another exciting episode of Married and Family Living with
the Grasleys.
I'm Al Grassley.
And I'm Lynn.
Hello, Linda. Welcome to Married and Family Living, a show focused on the domestic church, which is the family, which is the foundation of faith and spirituality. While our marriage and family are not perfect, we hope sharing our stories with you will help and encourage all of us and help us to remember that we aren't alone in this journey. I'd like to think of us as marriage encouragers.
Okay.
So tonight's topic will be about the full life, or as some people say, the busy life.
The busy life, yeah. It's funny when you ask people, how are you doing?
I'm busy. I'm very busy, Linda. Very busy.
So we try not to say that.
We try to say we're full. Oh, we're just full. Or blessed, we say.
Yeah, no. Hashtag
blessed.
That's what our daughter most enjoys.
Yes. We want to talk about the busyness of life and how it affects your family. And when busy, some things happen. Obviously, everybody's very busy. And you do not have a chance to model the domestic church. And how are your kids going to learn if you don't have a chance to model the domestic church?
Right. So when we were thinking about busyness, we were kind of reminiscing about the old days when we were kids and what our busyness was. The kids this summer were talking about how bored they were. And I remember just growing up in the summers, picking four-leaf clovers and running around in our bare feet and Saturday morning cartoons.
So I really didn't have that experience because it was just like you hop on your bike and you went to somebody's house all day and you goofed around.
Yeah.
So Jeff Hilbert had a pool and we just were in the pool all day.
We used to ride our bikes to a playground.
Yes. Yeah. And then I remember one time I actually fell asleep in somebody's backyard like on a summer afternoon. I'm like, man, I could go for that. I think I could have went for that like today.
But we did. We played in the neighborhood or at friends' houses and waited for our mom to holler or call the other mother to.
Or when the streetlights came on.
Streetlights.
It's time to get home. Be home by the streetlights.
Well, where we played kick the can when the streetlights came on.
But today's family is very different.
Yeah.
And I think you've.
Yeah, I was reading that article in Carol Magazine last month, and it was about the busyness of life, and they defined the modern family as being overscheduled and struggling to find free time, absence of downtime.
Hyper-competitive, I think Facebook adds to that situation.
Right, yeah. What do you call it? Fake book.
Fake book, because if you look at our Facebook page, we have the perfect, everything's just perfect. Everybody's smiling for the pictures. Nothing's out of place, which is not true.
Even our photo albums are like that. Right?
Even our photo.
Anybody's would be. But it does create jealousy and pride, maybe if you're posting it for the wrong reasons. We always have the excuse that both of our families are out of town, so we want them to see our pictures. But then I realized I had 380 friends who are seeing my pictures. So
380 friends?
Yeah, so I got rid of my Facebook account and started anew.
And how many friends do you have now?
I don't know. I think it's like 28.
28 fit.
Yeah.
So
it's
you
mostly
cut out,
family.
You cut out 320 of your friends? You sure you did?
Don't tell them.
Oh, okay. I won't tell them.
No, they know because I don't have an account there anymore.
No.
But anyway, right, it creates comparisons and could be stressful for some people trying to think that they have to keep up.
Yeah, I think that was happening to me, I think, a little bit because I was posting things and I'm like, oh, am I doing this to share with my family? It's kind of funny. My high school friends, who I'll never see again, have started becoming friends with me. It's funny how you just click up with one friend from high school and then it just kind of is a web. Everybody wants to be your friend because, we had study hall in third grade. Remember me? I'm like, I'm never going to see this guy again.
Right.
So you feel obliged to be their friend.
It is neat, but yeah, it gets a little bit consuming again, with our
hyper-competitiveness.
Yeah. I think most people think of that with sports, competitiveness, but then there's school, the academics, even service hours. I remember Katie going into 6th grade and instantly every kid and every mom was talking about, we got to get service hours. And It always disturbed me because that's something that really should be coming from the heart and using your gifts.
No, it should be mandatory. It should be mandated by the school, Linda. That's how we get everybody to do service hours.
Exactly how we get them to do service hours. It's very helpful, though, when you do need extra hands.
It is. It is. Working the movie nights here with this pasta dinner, it's like, oh, I'll give you some service hours.
Right, yeah.
But you wonder why they're doing it. Are they doing it just to pad the service hours, or are they doing it just because they really want to be there?
We are grateful for their help. But, Katie just did a service project. She's an artist, and she loves to create things. But she did get to repaint a town scene at the Little Sykes Railroad. And so that's neat. She got to do something she enjoys and help our town. And both of our kids have good memories of Little Sykes Railroad.
So hopefully we're painting a picture of what the modern family is like right now. And I don't want anybody to think that we're not immune to this. Linda and I go through this struggle all the time. You should have seen us trying to get here today.
Uh-oh.
It was.
You're going to tell them about that?
I'm not going to tell them about that. I'm just saying that we were busy. We were rushing around.
We were rushing around. We had to quick eat and quick practice and quick drop people off. And yeah, so there was a little stress in the car.
Yes, but the Facebook page still looks good.
It still looks good. But our friend Jarvis has this a great analogy to our lives. And part of the reason that we wanted to do this show was, families are like icebergs. There's the pretty piece that shows above the water, looks very
majestic.
It looks majestic. Thank you. And, maybe the sun is glistening on it, but there's the bigger piece that's below, something that nobody sees. We want to be sure that we have a place to comfortably expose that. We need to have relationships that we can trust and the time to see what's below and deal what's below. We want to help each other in that. And then certainly modeling that for our kids, adding all these stresses to a busy life. They're not going to learn how to kind of slow down, and they're going to feel the effects of the consequences of being overscheduled.
Yeah, but no,
downtime.
Right. So some of the consequences we're going to talk about here kind of happened to us, and there was a couple things we did to change it, although there are seasons where we're just too busy.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. To find that balance is very difficult, and we get really distracted from the relationships in our family and what's most important to ministering to other people. And like you have a great example of last weekend, our kids were sick, so we had a lot of downtime because the schedule cleared because they couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, so it was Saturday, and I don't think we had anything planned, which was surprising. And the kids didn't feel really well for some reason, so they were kind of like, I just want to hang around at home. And
we did all our errands.
It was just a great weekend. I kind of just putzed around in the garage, did some stuff, came in. I think...
You're very happy when you're putzing around.
I do. I just like to tidy up the house and stuff like that. But it was nice. I think I actually posted it on Facebook. I just said, best day ever. I was sorry to see it go without any pictures.
Without pictures, which is great.
Yeah, so all 5 of my friends got that message because I can't share it with you anymore because you only have 28 friends. But some of the other consequences of being overscheduled, me personally, I get pretty depressed when I don't have any downtime. I like to really sit and hang out with Linda and just talk about things.
Right. Our relationships suffer because we're missing conversations and connections, especially our marriages. We're so focused when our kids are of a certain age where we're running them around to take care of our marriages. So...
Yeah, like you might not notice that I had a bad day at work because you're so worried about the kids to get them to go here and there when I come home for dinner, like today.
Yes, dear.
Something like that, you might miss. Uh-huh. But when you're over busy too, you might miss cues from your kids too, like how they did today. Like, you're more focused on, hey, I need to pick you up and then I got to drop you off because I got to go do a radio show.
Right.
Or, I got to do shopping or something like that. If you schedule, these are things that could be consequences if you're
overscheduled. Yeah. And we talked about missed opportunities. You're so good at teaching the kids mostly life skills, but I was thinking about Matthew was doing ornithology. He's really interested in birds, so we were doing a bird study, and because I was busy, I thought, he could just watch this YouTube video I had found about how to use binoculars.
That sounds extremely exciting.
It's really hard.
You put the small ones on your
eyes? The large ones, yeah. Well, I thought, I don't know a lot about binoculars. I know how to generally use them, but I don't know about the magnification. And, I wanted him to learn some of the detail that I didn't know about. And I said, we'll just throw him on this YouTube. And recently, my father has really been very intentional about doing things with the kids, things that they're very interested in. Like Katie wants to be a pilot, so he's been learning about the Cessna that she's been flying, and they've been talking about physics and all that stuff that I don't get. And Matthew wanted to learn to weld because there's a Boy Scout merit badge for that, so he's been teaching him to weld. And
what boy doesn't want to learn how to weld? I'm just saying. You got the flame, you got the dark glasses, you could start the whole house on fire. Yeah. It's got everything that a boy wants to do.
It's very cool.
Yes.
It is very cool. And
but getting back, so your dad is really spending a lot of time with
our
kids.
So I just thought, wow, he's really building that relationship, and he's creating memories with them that will last. And here I am showing my son how to use binoculars on YouTube.
Watch this YouTube thing.
And that's a missed opportunity. I mean, it seems small, but you want to build a relationship with your kids so that they can remember, and then also learn how in the future they can train their kids to do different things. And then even more important that they feel comfortable coming to you with questions on how to do things, and tough questions and tough problems. So
did you have him watch the YouTube video, or did you actually show him how to use the binoculars?
I actually showed him, and I was showing him one of the things I didn't even know is the little rubber things that go over the lenses, like you can flip them out or in. I never knew. I mean, I remember as a kid thinking, that's the weirdest thing. Well, I learned on the video that people who have glasses, you can flip it away, and if you don't have glasses, you flip it forward. But Matthew already knew that.
That's because he already watched that YouTube video when we weren't around.
When I wasn't looking.
I know how to use this, Mom. I've seen the video on it.
Yeah. But anyway, that's some of the fond memories I have of my mom. Is she just loved to teach us about God's creation. We learned about birds from her, and that's why it was really fun that Matt was interested in this, and about astronomy, all of the constellations and
stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's,
so
I'm
these
passing
are things,
it on.
Yeah, we kind of got off on a tangent, but these are things that you can kind of miss if you're so busy that you don't have any of this free time with your kids and stuff.
Right.
And another thing when you're really busy is you really don't notice the people around you that might need some ministering or some help. And luckily, there was another couple weeks ago on a Saturday where we were not busy, which is kind of nice.
How come when we're not busy, we're always at Walmart?
I don't know. So, yeah, we were at Walmart, of course, because I just like to roam the halls at Walmart and look for deals.
Wander aimlessly.
And there was a senior citizen who was having trouble getting a card out. And she tried like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, I'm going to go over there and just pull it out. And I kind of made a joke. Well, are you sure you want this card, or do you want this one over here? But it was like, it made me feel good because I'm like, I helped her out a little bit, and she got a smile out of it. And it's kind of funny, too, when you're not in a rush, you can kind of joke around with the cashiers. And
you always joke around with the cashiers.
Well, it's funny their reaction because they're used to people being, hurry up and get the groceries out here. I got to get out of here because I'm busy. So
you had the time.
To
notice.
To notice.
Yeah.
So right now you are listening to Married and Family Living with the Grasleys on 92.7 WSJF.
Some of the other consequences are more maybe the obvious ones. Your kids' academics can suffer. Physical health, especially with sports. I bet more people go to physical therapists than ever before. Young people. I mean, they have specialists for high school sports now.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of
so. And for the adults too, if you're tired, you get grumpy.
No.
It's true.
No, really?
And, your patience with your kids or your spouse is a little hurt, just.
Even with yourself sometimes when you're just tired, it's like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get through this day, And you were talking about eating more, you tend to eat more when you're stressed.
It's a proven fact that when you are tired, you tend to eat more to overcompensate for your tiredness. So that'll just put your health in a spiral.
Right.
Like we've been there before. So
yeah, not eating well, just grabbing
grazing.
Whatever. Grazing. Yeah, we're good at that.
We're good at grazing.
And anxiety and depression, of course, is on the rise. And I think a lot of that has to do with the busyness and maybe what we're choosing to do on the side. So then we were thinking about the things that we did to kind of, hopefully.
So that was kind of our symptoms, I guess, or that's some of the symptoms of busyness. And we kind of, luckily, we were able to take a step back, I think, and say, "What we got to change something around here."
Right. I mean, we've made small changes. We've made big changes.
Right.
One of the big changes was homeschooling. That was huge. I mean, we've done every kind of schooling. We've done public school, homeschool, private school, homeschool, co-ops, and we've just kind of shifted depending on our family's needs.
Yeah, that's been a blessing.
That kind of, I think, was the point where we really decided that we needed to focus on what was important.
Yeah, to be a little bit more intentional, like we said, focus on one. That reminds me of Joshua 25:15, which says, "As for me and my house, we will follow the Lord." So we were trying to follow the Lord a little bit.
Right.
We have that thing up in our kitchen, and I have to say, some days nobody really notices what's up on the kitchen wall there.
Well, the other one is, "This is the day the Lord has made."
This is the day the Lord has made.
And I always think of it when I read that. He made it, but it's this day, not yesterday, and not
Right.
tomorrow. Just trying to be present now. Do you remember, though, when Katie, we got her first soccer ball, the little tiny one. I think my brother Jim, who's really into soccer, sent her first little soccer ball. And you and I both played team sports.
Yeah, I was
soon
like,
as we
my
could.
kids are definitely going to be into sports. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah,
I
no
love
doubt.
football, baseball,
Yeah,
hockey later in life,
right. So they tried soccer and
soccer, and then that didn't go too well. And then we maybe she likes swimming, and she did swimming for a couple of years. But
yeah. And Matthew didn't take to swimming, but he tried soccer, didn't like that. He tried baseball and basketball. He loved basketball
Yeah.
that whole year. And then they went to the championships and won, and he was all about it. And then next year he's like, nah.
I'm not doing it. I'm like, I remember thinking, we found a sport, and I signed him up for a summer camp.
Right. Yeah.
He's like,
Country.
I'm not going.
Yeah. He had fun at that too, but neither of the kids really took to it. And we thought, well, now what do we do?
Now what do we do?
Yeah.
And then we were out jogging one morning, early on a Saturday morning, like at 6:30 or something, and we saw quite a few families just loading up their vans with everything.
Their kids and uniforms and bags and balls.
And I
they
remember
thought,
thinking, maybe it's not so bad. Our
that's
kids
kinda
don't like
nice.
sports.
Having a leisurely Saturday morning, not too bad. Yeah.
So that kind of opened our eyes a little bit. And it's kind of funny now the kids are a little bit older. It's amazing that they found their passion, both of them. Matthew is Scouts and Catherine is Civil Air Patrol. And you can just tell how much joy those two things bring to those kids.
Right. And they found that on their own.
Yeah, they did
didn't
find
need-
that on their own. I don't know how that happened. I was
Yeah.
thinking the discipline in the house wasn't very good. And they needed something a little more stringent or something like that.
But so we focus on our family. We try hard to focus on our marriage. That's been tough because we focus so much on the kids, especially I do. So
Well, I think that's part of the thing going on.
Our season.
In our society, too, is it's
Yeah.
all about the kids. And, our season of life right now is about the kids a little bit more.
Right. Well, when they were little, we tried to prioritize the important things first, and we came up with somewhat of a mission. The four of us sat down and asked, who are we as Grasleys? What do we want to hear people say when we're not around about us? And we came up with 4 things, and we did these.
We came up with 4 things because we had 4 people in our family.
Right. We had canvases, so we decorated them with. One was, we have strong faith in God. We always tell the truth. We want to be known as honest people. That our family comes first, and then the fun one.
I thought it was, being funny, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think Matthew came up with that.
Matthew
Being
came
funny.
up with that? Oh, okay. So that was the 4 things. So
3 of the 4 of us are funny. I'm not as funny as the rest of them.
you're very fun, honey.
Thank
Very
you.
funny.
Thank you.
So those were the things we came up, which helped us define what kind of was important to us. And I remember one time I was disciplining the children, and I pointed to that thing. I said, look, this is who we are. And it's kind of a good reminder because, I helped make this, or I remember making that. They'll be like, oh, yeah, that's how we're supposed to act.
Right.
So, and that seemed to help out a little bit with us.
And then we tried, in living out who we are going to be, we put together, I'm sure it was a podcast that came up with the idea, Do you remember the book you read? It was about raising a knight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that had life skills in it. So by age, I wrote up all the life skills we wanted and inserted it in a different age. So each year, our kids learn some, maybe 3, 4, 5 different life skills that they can carry on in the future. And I was so proud of myself.
Yeah, I was proud of this. This is a nice list.
This is cool.
This is a good list.
I'm going to run this by my friend Kim Fleming, she's very good about.
She likes lists too.
She likes lists too. Yeah, we're both September babies, but they have 3 wonderful boys. You know, they teach them well. They're good kids, and I thought, well, I'll share it with her. She'll be really impressed with me. Well, guess what? She had a list too.
Was it a little bit longer than ours?
It was definitely more thorough. But it was neat because we shared and we bounced each other's ideas off each other, and I took some of her things and she took some of my things. So that was really neat. And the kids enjoy it each year, learning like, hey, what am I going to learn next? And
yeah, it's kind of good because it makes them feel, first of all, it makes them feel kind of important. I think one of the big things, the big skills that took some chores off my shoulders was cutting the lawn.
That's my favorite thing to do, and you gave it away to the kids.
Well, I gave it to the kids. So when you're it's hard when you're showing a skill to your kid to let them do the whole thing and then trying not to over critique it. Because, I've been cutting lawns for about 38 years, maybe even longer than that. I can't remember. So there's a certain way I like to cut the lawn. When your children are cutting lawn, let them do it, and then just go back and gently say, look, I'd like the whole lawn cut. I don't like the mohawks here. I'd like everything cut to the same length. And I'd like the grass blown off the driveway.
Yes.
And the sidewalk. And I'd like the lawnmower put away just the exact same way here. That's why I can
sprayed off. I know how you are. Yes.
Sprayed off. So,
yeah.
But you have to do that in a loving, kind way instead of sarcastic. Sometimes the sarcasm comes through at the family ones. Love it.
Right.
And I will say, too, really, right now, the kids are mowing the lawn very well. I come home and I'm like, hey, good job. And, it took a couple years, but...
Yeah, this year in particular.
It's a life skill that they'll remember.
Right.
Another thing that I've been teaching them, is just because of the age, as Catherine is driving, is we went through how to change a tire on a car because...
Well, Matthew was away with one of his friends, and his mom's car got a flat tire.
Oh, that's right.
He was jazzed about that.
Yeah.
And it was on Katie's life skills, but he got to learn how to change a tire, and Kate said, hey, it's my year to change a tire.
Yeah, well, she's driving now, so it's a little bit different, but changing a tire, when I change a tire, it doesn't take too long. When the kids change a tire, it takes forever. So you have to be patient. And then the other thing too that I'm teaching them this year is changing the oil. First of all, I enjoy changing the oil, which takes me about 10 or 15 minutes. It's been taking about an hour with the kids, but they're getting it.
But they get it. And it's neat because that's something special they can do with Dad, and it's a life skill.
Yeah, so that builds a couple things, right? It builds a good relationship with your kids. Like when you're changing oil, you could talk about some stuff. You're spending time with them, and you're really giving the kid a sense of self-worth. Like, hey, I could do this. This is something I could do. I bet you none of my friends could do this.
Right.
And it's a good connection, like you said.
Yeah. I work on and off part-time, different things. Last year, I was, I guess it wasn't last year, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was teaching, and that was very stressful. So you said, all right, we're just going to...
You said, you're done. I said, you're done teaching.
No, well, yeah, well, that was a whole nother story. But you said to help out, the kids should do more around here. And it's hard for me the kids have chores and they do a fine job, but it's hard for me to always be the one to remind them and badger them. So you said, let's just do an hour of cleaning every Saturday or every Sunday whenever we have the most time. And that has worked great.
Yeah, so we do that all at once. Everybody's cleaning at the same time for 1 hour. So there's nobody watching TV. There's nobody goofing off. We're all cleaning at the same time.
Yeah, and they clean their bathroom and they straighten their rooms, and then we pick one other big thing like clean the basement, the garage, or
move the barbells up to the attic.
That's your favorite.
From the basement. That's a lot of fun.
And with everybody doing 1 hour, that's 4 hours of cleaning, so it's a huge help.
It is a big help, and it makes the kids realize what it takes to keep the house clean, so they'll be a little bit more respectful to maybe taking their socks out of the family room or something like that when they get done for the day.
And then there's bigger changes, like we talked about homeschooling and me, working sometimes and not because it's a priority. But you had a big change. What was it, 5 years ago when you changed your job?
6 years ago, and one of the things we talked about, Lynn and I, is my job, is the job I had, I should say, and it was pretty far away. It was down in Greenbelt, Maryland, which is a long commute, and it was long hours, and it added to all the symptoms of busyness. I think I was working long hours. I was not exercising. I was grazing because I was tired all the time. And then when I came home, and I was grumpy when I came home, grumpy and no patience. And there was another job opportunity. Really, it took me 8, 9, 10, I would say almost a full year to decide, okay, it's time for me to do something different. And then another job opportunity came up. And even that took a long time because this job that I'm currently at the beginning, paid less than what I was making at the other job.
And you weren't getting no overtime.
And getting no overtime. And it really was very hard for me personally, being the breadwinner of the family, to make a decision to take less money.
Right.
But I think it's worked out. I've been there for 6 years now. I'm so much more pleasant around the kids and the family.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The commute's easier. I feel like I've been a little bit healthier. Sometimes money's not the only consideration when you take into these changes. But that was a very hard decision. I don't want to make light of it. It really took me a long time to decide that I needed to move on.
Understandably, but we all benefit from you making that decision. Okay, so we'll just run through a couple other things that we thought were important is adding things to your schedule that are healthy, like leisure time, not lazy time, but enjoying God's creation and nature, reading, learning something new, like maybe a new piece of music, having dinners together, unplugging the devices. Yeah,
and some annual things that we've done every summer is like going to the Utz Chip Factory and Hanover Shoe Farms. We go on a lot of hikes, just local hikes, like just going to Piney Run and doing a hike for a day. It's just nice to get away from everything.
And we did a big cross-country trip was a big deal for us. A lot of families going to Disney for 5 days, spending thousands of dollars. We thought we really don't want to be in the heat in lines, spending that money. What could we do? And we came up with a cross-country trip. Yeah,
we drove to Newport, Oregon. Try to find that on a map. Let's see how far it is from Sykesville. It was a lot of fun. So
the kids were 8 and 13. Al saved up his vacation for a few years. We saved up money for a few years, and the kids were at a perfect age, and it's something we still think about a lot and talk about. It's great memories, and learned a lot.
Yes, and we wouldn't be able to do that this summer because the kids are so engaged in their things.
Too many other
things right now. So there is a window for that.
Well, I think we are
done. We could go on forever, but unfortunately.
Well, let's just tell you, the next show that we're going to have in October is going to be about devices, electronics, and living in the digital age. It's going to be a film called Screenagers. We'll be getting the date promoted soon. And, if you have any future ideas or comments, please let us know on our email, thegrasleysradio@gmail.com.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you're still there. See you next time.
Well, many thanks to Alan and Linda for their generous time to prepare and practice their show. And again, you can reach Alan and Linda at their show email, thegrasleysradio@gmail.com. Thanks so much, and may God bless.